Good evening, everybody. My name's Fiona. You'll have to forgive me for the shadow that's being cast tonight, but decided I was going to do this tonight and didn't do it through the daytime, so it's a little bit a lot of shadows being created tonight. These are the only lights that I have at the moment. But today I'm going to make something for Valentine's Day, and we're going to be using some alcohol inks. I'm using this paper from Couture Creations. It's a type of UPO, and it says adhesive. Well, whilst it does not have an adhesive on it, what it is you can actually glue this down to something else, and it'll give you a nice finished look. I've used this quite a few times. I do quite like it. But tonight we've got some blending solution, and I've also got some isopropyl alcohol, and we'll be using both of those tonight. And I've got, this is a pearl, this is Imperial, it's called Imperial, a pearl ink. I've got a ruby and I've got a wine. I'm not sure which one I'm going to like best, but this is just the first part of the process that we're going to go through. Throw a bit of blending solution, throw a bit of colour on the card. We're just going to move this around a bit. So basically I'm just throwing the air around just to move all the ink around. It's quite rainy here at the moment, so there's quite a lot of humidity in the air, so this could get a few watermarks in it, water spots. I don't tend to mind that myself. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a little bit of this wine colour. And I don't mind if it blends in with this one, because this whole sheet is just going to be a red of some sort. So I'm going to actually add the isopropyl this time, because it'll dry a bit quicker than the blending solution. Oops. I'm just pushing that out to the edges. A little bit more over here. I haven't done a prototype for this in particular card that I'm going to make. That's what I'm going to use this for. I'm going to use it on a card. Not at this stage anyway, so I just thought tonight I'd do the first part of this video and get these colours down and try and get them moving. So I'm just tipping those colours up a bit. Add a little bit more isopropyl. Just tipping it around, giving it to move and do its thing. Normally I don't use a great deal of ink, but in this instance I am using quite a bit, only because I need to cover the whole A4 sheet. Might even get my blender. This one here. Maybe it's over in this spot. Let me see if I can just find it. I'll be back in a second. So this is a Couture Creations blending tool. So I'm just going to It'll just get me all that paper covered then. Now I want to put a bit of this pearl one over the top, just to see how that's going to go. And hopefully that'll give me a little bit of shimmer and shine. So as you can see, this is curling up. I could possibly take this down to stop the curling. But what I normally tend to do when I get a little bit of curling like this is I grab my heat gun, flip it over the other way, and just add a little bit of heat, not concentrated in just one spot, but just keeping your heat moving so you don't melt the UPO at all. And yeah, keep it moving, and it normally turns out pretty cool. Okay, so I'm going to try for a bit more of this ruby because it's not quite as dark as I'd like it. This time I'm not going to add any blending solution or isopropyl alcohol to it. I'm just going to swirl it on. And I don't mind that I've got those, see these round circles from where I dropped the ink on. I mean, I could have put it straight onto the pad and done it that way. But I don't mind the circles because it's not going to matter in this project. Okay, now to try some pearl on this and see how it goes. Remember, if you're using pearls or metallics at all, make sure you give them a really good shake. I don't know whether you can see this on the bottom here, but see how it's got all the pearls sitting on the bottom there? That opaque sort of a colour. Because I haven't had my inks out for a little while, they will need a really good shake. So I'll just continue to dry this while I'm shaking this pearl colour up. Oh, that's better. And let's see how we go. Just trying to get all this spottiness coming over here in that pearl. Just slowly filling up all the spaces. I am going to grab my heat tool in a minute, and I'm just going to dry this off a little bit. Look, unless you're somebody who's done a fair bit of alcohol inking and you understand how to move the temperature around a bit on it, I wouldn't recommend using a heat gun. Maybe a hairdryer with a cool cycle would be better, but I'm going to hit this one with this, so I'll be back with you in just a few seconds when I dry it off. Now you'll notice that as I dry this, I'm keeping the heat away from the paper. It's just the air that's blowing out, and just to dry it. I don't want this heat anywhere near the UPO because it will melt. Okay, that's dry. I'm just going to Okay, so now we've got all this beautiful red with the imperial over the top. I'm just wondering whether I'd like to add in a bit of gold into this. Normally I like this pearl gold, so I'm just thinking that perhaps that might be a nice bit of accent to go through this particular project. Like I said before, I really need to give this a really good shake. See how this bit here and around here, that's all the gold sitting on the bottom, because they have been sitting for a little while at the moment. I'm definitely using the isopropyl at the moment because just because of the humidity, it just dries a little quicker than the blending solution. And it can fade your colours a little bit, isopropyl, as opposed to the blending solution. Okay. I love how this is all starting to break apart and separate. It's looking good. You'll have to excuse my frog. We've had a bit of a rainy day here today here in normally sunny Queensland. But he's sitting right outside my window. I can't stop him from squawking. We actually have a pond out the front, which we are currently breeding frogs in it, the pointy-nosed brown frog. We have quite a few babies swimming around in there at the moment, which is really nice to see. So I'm just tipping up this paper every now and again when I get that bit of it, because of the moisture, it's curling the paper a little bit, which is fine. I'm just lifting it up a little bit so that I can move it around a little better. Okay, so I'm quite happy with the way this looks now. I'm just going to grab that heat gun again, and I'm going to just give it a little bit of heat just to dry off that last little bit. So originally what I was going to do, I was actually going to use my dies and do some die cutting with this, but I broke my die cutting machine. So it's currently, hopefully in the process of being fixed, and I'll get it back soon. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut these down into a few different sizes so that I can make some different size hearts out of it. So I think the first one I want to be about 3 inches. That'll do. Maybe a 2 inch. And maybe a 1 inch as well. Maybe 1.5. Okay. I'm going to, oops, sorry about knocking the camera there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold over this piece here. And just like we used to do at school, I'm going to cut out my heart shape. So that's going to be my Now this, you will need a really good pair of scissors because these this is quite thick paper to cut. So there's my first heart shape. So I'll cut this piece off and do my next one. Do it the same way. Right at the bottom. And I'm okay if they're not all the same shape. It doesn't really matter for this project. But I do want to make sure those curves are right at the top. There's another one. I'm just going to go through and I'm going to do that to all of these bits of card that I've cut out. Didn't get that one very rounded, did I? That's better. Would have made life so much easier if my machine was working. I could have done them all with that, and that point's not pointy enough. So I'm just going to snip up, make that a bit pointier. There we go, there's another one. And I wonder whether I can just fold this one this way and get another one. Okay, so I'm going to do that to all of these bits of paper until I get as many hearts as I can out of them. And hopefully we'll have enough to do the card that I want to make. And all these little bits that are left over, I'll cut down and I'll use in some sort of collage. I might make some tags or something with them to go into some journals. Start from here. That's better. Okay, one more out of this one. Oops. Okay, now to our big one. So I'm going to go to this one. Okay, sorry about that. I had to go for a little bit, just do some family stuff. Okay, so what I have here now is the alcohol ink stays in place ink pad. And it also has a re-inker. And it has this little doodaddy that you drag the ink across onto the pad with. So you can do it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab each piece. I'm going to throw them back in half because when I was playing around with this just a minute ago, before I switched back on the camera, I noticed that they were all sort of blending in a little bit. So I'm wanting to a bit of a dark edge on the outside, so I'm just sort of dabbing into the ink pad and just getting this darker outline on them. So this colour that I'm using is called Chocolate Sprinkles. And who doesn't like a bit of chocolate on Valentine's Day, eh? Oops. And I'll tell you that it's been months since I've actually used this pad, and the ink is still really saturated in here, which is really nice to know. So I think I bought these last year. I've only ever used them a couple of times, which I've decided that I've got to use more of my stash. So today was a bit of a stash buster, using up some of the things I had, going back and using some things that I absolutely love. As I said, I haven't used my inks for a little while. I just had a bit of a break from them. I had been doing them pretty consistently for nearly 2 years, and it's just time to change and do something a little bit different for a change. So that's when I entered into paper craft. And I've really been enjoying the paper craft, actually. My girlfriend many years ago tried to tell me to have a go at it. She used to do a lot of scrapbooking and stuff. Oh, no, I'd say it's not me, it's not me. Little did I know, it is me. I've been thoroughly enjoying it. Okay, there's the next one. So like I said, I'm just going to ink all of these. So if you don't want to see me ink all of these, go and grab yourself a cuppa and then come back. By the time you make yourself a cuppa, I should be just about ready to start on the next process. Okay. Okay. I'm really liking the look of these. It really has brought out the defined the shape better by putting this on. So I suppose I'm inking the edges like you would if you were doing using distress ink. And I suppose you could have used distress oxide ink on this as well. It probably would have been okay as well, because it's water based and not alcohol based. It wouldn't have affected the hearts that you created beforehand. So I'm going to have to do a little bit of sewing. So once I've inked these, I'm going to just going to go over and sew a little bit of lace onto this card. And then when I come back, I'll have the lace on the card, and then we can have a look and see how it all turns out. Okay. Put that on there, but anyway. There we go. So that's all of our hearts ink now. Now I'm going to slip over to the sewing machine and I'll be right back with you. So I'm back now. I've just sewn this little piece of black lace trim onto the edge of my card. Now it's time to start placing the cards on. Now I wasn't sure how I was going to actually do this. I did think about maybe foam to hold it up so that it stays three-dimensional. But I think some of them I want them to go flat. So I'm just playing around with the composition of this. Maybe this one would be better here. This one up in here. Okay, so I'm quite happy with that. Now, how do I glue this down? How am I going to do this? Okay, so I think I'm going to use glue. I think that's the way I want to go with it. Okay, so I'm going to I'm going to use some of this quick dry adhesive, mainly because it's thicker paper and I do want it to dry rather quickly. And I'm going to keep them sort of popped up a little bit. So I'm just going to pop it. And those edges a little bit like that. But I'm not putting it on the very top here because I want it to stay sort of up. Let's see how that one goes. Now, next one. I sort of want them to sort of overlap a little bit as we go through. Yep. Okay, that's how we're going to go. Okay, so I'll put these two on next. Same thing. Bit of this Couture Creations Quick Dry Adhesive. Let that glue go down there. And as you can see, I'm just putting it on these outer edges, but not on the very end. Don't mind if it goes on the tip, just on those. So I just want it to overlap the one beside it a little bit. And I'm just pressing down to make sure it gets good contact with whatever's beside it. That's why I decided to go with the quick dry. The quick dry adhesive. There's another one that they have called Turbo Tacky. It's very good as well for this type of thing. Just going to get that to dry now. My next one is this one, I think. Yep. Okay. Oops. Okay, moving along. Want that one to go in there. So this time I'm not only going to just put it in here, if it would come out. Just going to put it along there, but I'm also going to put it in here so that when I slip it underneath here, it's going to attach in those two spots. And I'll just remove some of that. So they should both. This one. Okay. Same with this one, a little bit in this section as we glue it down. Okay, the next one. Okay, let's start on these ones now. Put these little fellas down here. Same thing, I've still got them popped up slightly. And like, there's no hard and fast rule with this. You can actually put yours in any, put them down any way that you would like. This was just something that I thought looked all right. I'll put that one there. That one up a little bit. Okay, slowly getting through them all. This will take a few minutes to dry. So I'm noticing, I'll notice I didn't get much. I'll have to get a little bit of ink onto this one. So I might just pop there. So I'm going to turn this off now and I'll come back once this is all dry. So this is basically our card. I can't really hold it up or anything yet until we get these ones secured down really well. I will come back very shortly and we'll see the finished product. Okay, I'm back again. Now we've got these all glued down now and they're relatively dry. They're not going to fall off anywhere. So this is our Stacked Hearts Valentine's Day card. So what I'm going to also do is I've cut down this piece of our leftover bit, and it's going to measure 5 and a quarter by 4. And I'm going to use that on the inside of this card just to cover up that stitching. So I'm just going to use it up here. Okay, so I'm just going to use my the quick dry adhesive on this. It'll come down, give it a bit of a line around the edge. This is also another glue that's very, very good that I've been using a lot of lately. Okay, that's all we should need. Line that up on there. You could go a lot further and you could decorate even this piece as well if you wanted to. But for me, I'm just going to finish it off with there you go, Be My Valentine. And there we have it. We have our beautiful Stacked Hearts alcohol ink card with a little bit of lace. Looks very pretty. I hope you've enjoyed this. I'd really appreciate it if you could give me a like And if you've got any questions, please don't hesitate to ask. I'm happy to answer your questions for you. Another couple of things, I've been talking in the last few videos about if we reach 500 subscribers, I'm going to auction off the Couture Creations, now what's it called? Not Couture Creations, Elegance Collection journal that I created. And I'll be sending that out to some lucky person if they win it. Yeah, so if you could share, like, all of those good things, ask some questions, watch the whole video, that always helps as well, and you might be in the draw to be able to win it. So thank you, everybody. When I have all the details for that draw, I will actually put them up on my Instagram and also on my Facebook page, along with YouTube, with some photos of what the finished journal will look like, and all of the information about how you go about winning it. Okay, guys, have a great evening, and I'll talk to you again later. Bye.